All right, guys. We just saw the Texans take Bryce Young here. I think we leave the door open here to get our guy, um, but I want to hear both sides. What are we thinking here?
All right, before this idiot up there even says a word, okay? We have to protect Kyler Murray. We have to
He's not
protect
even
Kyler Murray.
playing this year.
That's the point, right? He's hurt. We gotta
What are you
protect
gonna
his
do?
ass when he comes back.
Put blockers on Call of Duty?
Okay, listen, hear me out. Peter Skoronski is an NFL ready offensive tackle. Okay, Monty, like we need to genuinely think about trying to protect the guy who, when Call of Duty isn't out, wins us games and could possibly take us to the promised land in the NFL. You win with having a quarterback. You win by having a quarterback that is protected by having a good offensive line. It's one of the areas we struggle with. We need to tackle. We need to protect him. Like, we need to go Peter Skoronski.
That sounds like that same BS speech my Pee Wee coach gave me. Listen, J.J. Watt retired. You'll probably lose Zach Allen to free agency, and Matt Burke, our D coordinator, went to Houston. We need defensive players. Will Anderson, we got to take him. Got to take him. It'd be the only bright spot we have this season.
I don't know about only bright spot. I mean, listen. You know, if we find ourselves a bridge quarterback until Kyler gets back, free agency's obviously still coming up. I think we can still have a competitive team, but we need to be able to protect our quarterback. Whether it's Kyler this year, Kyler next year, obviously he's not going to be back till probably next year. I mean, that'd be the smart way for us to handle the situation. But like, we need to protect our quarterback, whoever that's going to be for this year, for us to even have a chance to make the playoffs. So the division we're in is stacked.
Very much so.
Right. So unless we're throwing the year away, then I can totally understand us going Will Anderson. But if we're trying to be competitive this year, we need to protect.
You are throwing the year away.
Peter Skoronski's not throwing the year away.
He kind of is. It's undervaluing the pick.
Yeah, I mean,
because you could very easily take the same approach next year into that draft and get an O lineman to protect Kyler, and it would be the same because he's not playing next year, and it makes no sense to try to worry about getting somebody ready to protect Kyler if you're not protecting Kyler. Then that's different than protecting a Jacoby Brissett.
How would it make? I'm struggling to understand the logic of it making less sense for us to get a tackle ready because and get his first year feet wet underneath him to protect Kyler
your
next
feet
year.
are wet, but you're not protecting Kyler's mannerisms and the way he plays is different than anybody else you're going to bring in there.
Right, but then that would be the same. That would be the same logic when we're in free agency, when we're like, okay, we shouldn't pick up any offensive tackles because we don't know if they're going to work with Kyler. That's the counter.
Well, that's why you don't sign for a long.
I mean,
and then
sure,
two,
you can.
It's like you have no face of this defense. None, zero, nilch. Put one there. You lost Chandler Jones. He went to the Raiders. Like, who's your best defender? Isaiah Simmons?
Yeah.
No, we want Will Anderson. Do it.
Monty, where are you leaning?
He's up in that division. I'm telling you. He'll eat him up.
Where are you leaning so far, Monty?
I am more inclined to side with Nick in this conversation. I believe that Anderson, he's a good kid, strong resume, comes in, 14 tackles last year, breakout. I understand that Alabama plays in a weaker conference outside of one or two teams.
Huh?
Outside of themselves, that conference is mostly a pushover. But 14 sacks in 13 games isn't nothing to haul your mouth at. 42 hurries. I think that's really the number that we have to look at here. 42 hurries last year at college. The thing, quarterbacks, I mean, we understand they're getting more mobile, but so are our guys. Getting them out of the pocket early is, I think, going to really matter to us. And that's more so why I want to lead with Anderson more than a tackle like Soronsky or even Paris Johnson.
The other thing I'll struggle to say with this is that obviously, we just got Gannon from Philadelphia. Like, we need to give him an offense that we can work with. We need to be able to run the ball too. And that was one of the one of the weakest things one of the things we weren't good at last year. Peter Skoronski is a great running tackle. I mean, if you go back and look at his tape at Northwestern, he's double teaming kids running downhill to open up lanes for his running back.
What about people that say
Conner,
he's not even projected to play tackle? He's more projected to play guard.
Even if we need to slide him at guard, that's fine. Once you find a gem like that on the offensive line, you can
undervalue in the pick because you can get a guard later.
I don't necessarily think that he would struggle at tackle, and I think he's going to play at tackle. I mean, you look at his fundamentals. He's got crisp hands, right? We know he can play. He did it in pass coverage. He gave Northwestern a chance. I genuinely think Skoronski should be the pick here. Genuinely, because we need to be able to do something on the offensive side of the ball. And if we weren't able, he
is a good player. He's the best lineman in this draft, probably. But it's undervalued in the pick taking him at 3. Not by far, but undervaluing the pick taking him at 3. Now, if you want to go back to the conversation of trading back, if that's who you're set on, I'll entertain that idea. But then also, I guess shoot yourself in the foot.
I think if we want to get a tackle here, if that's the route that we choose to go, I think we can certainly trade back. There are a lot of teams that are also looking for, I guess not skill positions, but they're looking for corners, safeties, receivers. That they're available here now. I'm just looking at the big board here. We got Skoronski at 15. The board says he'll be there for a little bit. We don't have to take him now.
So how do we feel about trading back with Philly?
With Philly all the way to 10?
I mean, if Skoronski's going to be there, we can probably get both firsts this year, maybe a second and a third in this year or next year. We can get big value. We get our tackle.
We got if we go back, we got 4 teams behind us that need a quarterback badly. Talking about Indy, LA, or not LA, Las Vegas, Atlanta, and Carolina. All 4 of those teams need a quarterback, in my opinion, unless the only teams that really probably don't need one are maybe the Falcons if they want to stick with Mariota. But I think we have some space to move back here at 10 and then still be able to get Skoronski. And then we could get, we can get 10. We could even get like 30. We can move back for 10 and 30.
You can get 31. Otherwise, we get in the top 50 and get a player as good as Skoronski do what you want him to do. Straight up. You're foolish for passing on talent. Like, if we're being honest, like, you're talking about making like organizational decisions based on chasing one player, and that one player you're convinced is your take. Like, I think DeJuan Jones from Darnell Wright from Tennessee, I would take them just as soon as I'll take Skoronski. But there's nobody you can say I'll take him. Will Anderson. There's nobody else defensively left on this board as talented as Will Anderson. Like, you can't pass on him.
All right, so what I'm hearing is you want to take Will Anderson, obviously, but you're saying that you would rather trade up to try to get a guy like Skoronski rather than trade back to get a guy like Skoronski.
No, I'm saying to both of y'all's point combined, like, if you can trade out of this spot only to get a haul, like it has to be a haul, I'll do it. But
okay, real quick, we only have 30 seconds left. 30 seconds left. I mean, if we were looking for haul, it would be 6. Be 6 and 18. That'd be the haul, I think, from Detroit. But I mean, Monty, we have 10 seconds left on the clock. We got to make a pick.
All right. I don't know if Detroit will want to move up because they're rebuilding also. I think we just need to we're going to sign Will Anderson. Call it in.
Done deal.
Boom.
Will Anderson is off the board.